Okay, let's dive in. May 3rd, 2025. Election night. Punggol GRC.
Right.
The results roll in. Workers' Party gets 44.83%. People's Action Party, 55.17%.
So Pavey takes the GRC. On paper, that's the story.
On paper, yes. But what's really caught our eye is this idea, could losing the election actually be, well, the start of winning something else for the WP, especially with Harpreet Singh Nehal, the senior counsel on their team?
Meaning hearts, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's an interesting angle. And it's really based on what happened next.
Exactly. The follow-up, that's what deviates from the usual script, isn't it?
Absolutely. Usually, you might expect a quiet period.
Yeah.
But instead, we see this very public, very deliberate commitment being made to Punggol.
And fast. Just 6 days later, May 9th, Harpreet's on Facebook. It wasn't your standard, thanks for the vote, see you next time.
Not at all.
It was this declaration: the Workers' Party team in Punggol is just getting started. I mean, that's quite a statement after not winning.
It really is. It's a significant signal. Typically, you see losing teams, well, they pull back, right? They regroup, maybe lay low until the next cycle ramps up.
Yeah, fade out a bit.
But this suggests something different, a continuous presence, not just popping up when an election's called. It feels like a commitment for the long haul.
Okay, so let's paint a picture of Punggol GRC for a sec. This was its first election. Brand new constituency for 2025.
That's right. Carved out from parts of Punggol, West, SMC, other bits too. So everyone was starting fresh in this specific configuration.
And the people there, the voters.
Ah, that's crucial.
Yeah.
Over 123,000 electors. And the estimates suggest, well, more than half are between 21 and 45.
Wow. So young families, professionals, likely very digitally connected, active.
Exactly. Young, probably quite engaged. Does that kind of demographic, you think, make them perhaps more open to alternative voices or demand stronger representation?
It certainly could. You might expect that demographic to value, well, consistent engagement, maybe wanting representatives who are really visible and active locally, not just during campaign season.
Makes sense.
Now, the team's battling it out. On the PATP side, you had Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim-young leading, a very senior figure.
Right, and alongside him, Janil Pathutri, Sunjwal Ling, Yewan Ling, all incumbents, all with track records, a very established team.
Definitely experienced. And facing them, the Workers' Party, led by Harpreet Singh, the SE.
And Jackson Ott, CT Elia, Abdul Rahim Attar, Alexis Deng. So you had this blend, perhaps, Harpreet bringing that legal heavyweight status.
Yeah, that gravitas.
And the others maybe bringing fresh perspectives, new energy. What does having a senior counsel like Harpreet leading the charge really, signify?
Well, it suggests the WP was taking this new GRC very seriously, putting significant high-level expertise on the ground there.
A serious bid, then.
Absolutely. And look at the result again. Nearly 45%, over 51,000 votes. In a brand new GRC against that PATP lineup, that's not insignificant.
No, it's a substantial base to start from. It shows a definite level of support right off the bat. But, like you said, it's the actions after the vote that are so interesting here.
Right. Harpreet's message, it wasn't just, we're sticking around. He thanked the volunteers specifically.
Which is important. Builds morale.
And he actually asked for more residents to join in to help out.
So an open invitation. Continuing the momentum.
Yeah, and even that touch of humor, saying something like, I'm in good health, good shape, and I plan to be here for a long, long time.
That personal touch, it feels quite deliberate. Less like a formal party statement, more like a personal commitment.
It does. He mentioned taking a short break with family, fair enough, after a campaign,
Yeah.
but immediately promised, continued communication, ongoing groundwork.
And that really ties into what the Workers' Party often talks about, doesn't it? Their whole approach, the Workers' Party way.
Explain that a bit.
Well, it's generally understood as this strategy of consistent presence, being visible, doing the groundwork, house visits, community outreach, building relationships, not just during the election period, but between elections, being part of the local scene.
Right. So this statement from Harpreet, it's basically saying we're applying that way right here, right now, in Punggol, despite the loss.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, though, what if this became more common? Across the board, ruling party, opposition, if politicians saw their role as this continuous service.
How would that change things for voter engagement, for trust?
Yeah, would people feel more connected, more invested, maybe, if they saw politicians consistently working the ground, win or lose?
That's a big question, and it feels particularly relevant for Punggol, given those demographics we talked about, the fact that it's a developing area.
And this clear signal of rising political awareness, maybe. It really could become a fascinating GRC to watch, a potential key battleground down the road.
Seems possible. And Harpreet Singh seems determined to be central to that ongoing story for the WP there.
Absolutely. The groundwork they lay now, the relationships they build, that could genuinely influence how things play out in future elections. It shifts the narrative from just the election result to this longer-term engagement.
So let's circle back. Losing the vote, but maybe winning hearts. Is that what this consistent, on-the-ground work after a loss can achieve? Can it build that deep trust, that connection that might actually change votes next time?
It really brings up a fundamental point about political influence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it all about the win on election night? Or is there a longer game here? About building real roots in a community, demonstrating that commitment whether you hold a seat or not.
Yeah, it forces you to consider what truly resonates with voters in the long run. Is it the intense but maybe short-lived campaign blitz? Or is it that steady, sustained presence?
And maybe, just maybe, this signals a different way some politicians are thinking about their role, not just as candidates who appear every 4 or 5 years.
But as genuine, ongoing participants in the life of the community.
Exactly. Win or lose, they're part of the journey.
Well, on that note, maybe we should leave our listeners with Harpreet Singh's own words from that post. He ended it by saying, "Let's walk this road together with hope, with humor, and with heart."
Framing it as a shared journey, not just a political campaign on hold. That really sums up this idea of sustained engagement, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Something for all of us, and especially the residents of Punggol, to think about long after the election headlines have faded.